Welcome back to War Chronicles. Today we take you into one of the most secret and extraordinary operations of World War II, an invisible battle fought not with bullets, but with deception. In this episode, you will discover how a handful of brilliant strategists, double agents, and fake armies helped change the fate of Europe. This is the untold story of Operation Fortitude, the great deception that shaped D-Day. Sit back, relax, and let's travel into the shadows of history. During World War II, by the end of 1943, the Allies were preparing for their biggest operation of the war, the invasion of German-occupied France. This operation would later become known as D-Day, the landing in Normandy. However, the main problem was simple. Germany expected an invasion, but no one knew where it would happen. The Allies understood that if Germany guessed the correct location, they could send their strongest tank divisions to the beaches and completely destroy the landing before it even began. Germany had over 50 divisions in France. Normandy had fewer defenses. But the area around Pas de Calais was the most logical place for an invasion. It was the closest point between Britain and France, so the Allies needed Germany to believe that the invasion would be at Calais, not Normandy. From this problem came the idea that would later be called Operation Fortitude, a massive deception plan created to fool Hitler and the German High Command. The goal was clear. 1. Convince Germany that a huge Allied army is preparing to attack Calais. 2. Keep German forces waiting there even after D-Day begins. 3. Reduce the number of German troops in Normandy so the real landing can succeed. To accomplish this, the Allies needed several things: a fake army, fake equipment, fake radio messages, fake troop movements, double agents sending false reports, and most importantly, a commander Germany feared, General George Patton. Patton was known for aggressive actions. Germany respected and feared him. So the Allies placed him in charge of a completely fictional army group that did not actually exist. This fake army was called FUSAG, the First U.S. Army Group. From the outside, FUSAG looked real. Divisions existed only on paper. Tanks were actually inflatable rubber decoys. Aircraft were made of wood or canvas. Trucks were empty shells. Soldiers seen by German spies were often actors. The purpose wasn't to convince the whole world, only the German intelligence network. If Germany moved divisions away from Normandy and kept them around Calais, the Allies would have a real chance of success. That was the beginning of the plan. Simple in idea, huge in scale, and extremely dangerous. Because one mistake, one slip, one careless detail could expose the deception and ruin the entire D-Day operation. To make the deception believable, the Allies had to create an army that looked completely real from the German point of view. The Germans relied on several types of intelligence: spy reports, aerial photos, radio intercepts, and movement of troops and equipment. So the Allies needed to fool all of these methods at the same time. Here is how the fake army was created. 1. Inflatable tanks and fake vehicles. The Allies created hundreds of inflatable tanks that looked realistic from the air. When photographed by German planes, these tanks appeared identical to real Sherman tanks. There were also inflatable artillery fake trucks, wooden aircraft, dummy landing craft along the coast, fake fuel depots, fake supply dumps. From above, these looked like real military preparation for an invasion. All of this equipment was placed in Kent and Sussex, the regions closest to Calais, on purpose, so Germany would think the invasion would happen there. 2. Fake airfields and camps. The Allies built, fake runways, fake aircraft lined up fake hangars, fake anti-aircraft positions, fake soldier camps, fake command posts. Many of these bases had no real soldiers. Instead, a small group was responsible for moving the dummy equipment around every day to make it look active. These movements were planned according to real military patterns, so that aerial photography would show normal operations. 3. Controlled radio traffic. One of the most important parts of the deception was radio communication. Real armies produce massive radio traffic, thousands of messages daily. A fake army also needed radio traffic, or else Germany would immediately notice that something was wrong. So Allied specialists created an entire radio army, dozens of operators, fake regiments, fake supply requests, fake weather reports, fake orders, fake encrypted messages. These signals were purposely designed to be intercepted by the Germans, and because the patterns matched what a real army would use, German intelligence believed them. 4. Using double agents, Britain had captured almost all German spies in the UK early in the war. Instead of executing them, British intelligence turned many into double agents. The most famous was Juan Pujol Garcia, codename Garbo. Garbo sent messages to Germany describing large troop concentrations and major preparations in Kent. His reports matched the fake infrastructure, maps and movements created by the Allies. Because Germany trusted him so much, they considered Garbo one of their most valuable sources. His information directly helped convince Germany that the main invasion would happen at Calais. 5. General George Patton's role. The Allies placed General Patton in charge of the fake army, Fusag. Germany respected Patton and believed he would lead the main invasion. So when German spies reported that Patton was stationed in the southeast of England, and aerial photos showed an army there, German leadership concluded, this must be the real invasion force. This was exactly what the Allies wanted. 6. The goal of the fake army. The purpose of the fake army was not to attack. Its only purpose was to be seen. From photos, from radio signals, from spy reports, from Patton's presence, from fake orders, from fake training drills. The entire system worked together to create one huge lie. The Allies will invade at Pas de Calais. One of the most important parts of Operation Fortitude was not the inflatable tanks or fake airfields. The real power of the deception came from double agents, people Germany believed were working for them, while in reality they were controlled by British intelligence. These agents delivered false information directly to the German High Command, and Germany trusted every word. How Britain took control of German spies. At the beginning of the war, Germany sent many spies into Britain. Almost all of them were caught shortly after arrival, questioned, and then turned into double agents. Britain created a system called the double-cross system, which allowed them to control every piece of information going from Britain to Germany. By 1944, Germany had no real spies operating freely in the UK. Every German agent in Britain was secretly working for the Allies. This gave the Allies total control over what Germany believed. Agent Garbo, the most important double agent. The most valuable double agent was Juan Pujol Garcia, codenamed Garbo. Garbo invented an entire network of 27 imaginary subagents. None of them existed, but Germany believed they were real people with access to military information. Garbo sent extremely detailed reports about troop movements, supply activities, training areas, observations around Kent, and patterns that matched the fake army. His reports perfectly matched the visual evidence from the fake camps and dummy tanks, so Germany trusted him completely. Germany considered Garbo one of their best agents. They even awarded him the Iron Cross, not knowing he was lying to them the entire time. What Garbo reported before D-Day. In the weeks before the invasion, Garbo sent many important messages to Germany. These messages were all coordinated with the deception plan. He reported that a large Allied force was gathering in Kent, facing Calais. There was increased activity around Patton's fake army. Fuel and supply depots were growing near the dummy camps. Troops were preparing for a major operation in the southeast. The invasion in Normandy, when it happened, was only a diversion. These messages convinced Germany that the real attack was still coming at Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. Other important double agents. Garbo was the most famous, but not the only one. Other double agents also played key roles. Brutus, a Polish officer who sent reports confirming the fake army's position. Tate, an Estonian agent who observed troop movements and supply trucks. Tricycle, a Balkan agent whose supposed spy network in Britain looked very real to Germany. Each agent added pieces to the same story. Germany believed they were receiving information from many different spies, but all of them were controlled by the Allies. Coordination between intelligence services. For the deception to work, all sources needed to match. That meant coordinating double agent reports, fake radio messages, fake troop movements, dummy equipment, aerial photography, false documents. This coordination was handled by MI5 and MI6, who checked every detail. Nothing was left to chance. Every message, every photo, every movement of the fake army was carefully planned. This created a solid, believable picture for German intelligence. A huge Allied force was preparing to invade Pas-de-Calais. And that was exactly what the Allies wanted Germany to believe. For Operation Fortitude to work, the Allies needed to control every possible source of information that Germany could use. Germany relied on three main methods: aerial reconnaissance, radio interception, and human intelligence. The Allies designed the entire operation to manipulate all three at once. German aircraft frequently flew over southern England to take photos. The Allies knew this, so they deliberately built fake military camps in places where German planes were likely to fly. These camps included rows of inflatable tanks, wooden aircraft, empty tents, and even fake trenches. Everything was placed in patterns that looked exactly like real military formations. To make these scenes even more convincing, small groups of soldiers moved the fake equipment slightly each day. Sometimes they changed the position of the tanks, added tire tracks in the dirt, or rearranged supply crates. From high above, the photos looked completely real. German analysts studying the images saw what they expected to see: a large army preparing for a major attack. Radio communication was another important element. Real armies send and receive thousands of messages every day. So the fake army needed its own radio network. Skilled radio operators created a constant flow of realistic traffic. They simulated conversations between units, reported fake supply shortages, sent weather updates, and transmitted requests for fuel and equipment. All of it was intentional noise designed to be intercepted. German intelligence monitored British radio signals closely, and the pattern of the transmissions matched what a real army of that size would produce. This helped strengthen the illusion that a full-scale force was gathering in the southeast of England. Human intelligence was also carefully controlled. Any German agent who tried to observe the area would see exactly what the Allies wanted them to see. German spies who had been turned into double agents reported the same things that the aerial photos and radio traffic suggested. This consistency was crucial. When all three methods showed the same picture, Germany had no reason to doubt the information. Even Allied shipping was used as part of the deception. Fake landing craft were placed along the southeastern coast to make it appear as if troops were preparing to cross the channel near Pas-de-Calais. Some of these landing craft were real but unmanned and constantly moved to simulate activity. Others were simple shells built to mimic the appearance of ships. The Allies also staged fake military exercises. Troops marched in patterns visible from the air. Trucks drove back and forth to create dust clouds. At night, fake lights were used to simulate the presence of large numbers of soldiers and vehicles. Meanwhile, the real invasion force for Normandy was gathering quietly in the southwest, away from German eyes. Strict secrecy surrounded every real movement. Soldiers were not told their destination. Equipment was hidden inside covered areas. Communication related to the real invasion was heavily restricted or done via secure lines. The combination of fake activity in the southeast and hidden preparations in the southwest created the perfect contrast. Germany saw what the Allies wanted them to see, a strong aggressive force preparing for Calais, and they completely missed the real focus on Normandy. Operation Fortitude worked because every detail, from the smallest radio message to the largest inflatable tank, was coordinated with precision. Nothing was accidental. Every movement, every signal, every report had a clear purpose. By the spring of 1944, German intelligence was convinced. They believed the southeast of England held the most powerful Allied army, led by General Patton, preparing to strike at the Pas-de-Calais. This belief would later shape their decisions on D-Day. By early 1944, the German High Command was carefully monitoring all Allied activity across Britain. Their analysts studied aerial photos, intercepted radio messages, and relied on reports from supposed German agents inside the UK. Everything they saw confirmed one conclusion: the main Allied invasion would target Pas-de-Calais. German intelligence believed this for several reasons. The Pas-de-Calais region was the shortest crossing point from Britain to France, making it a logical military target. It also had strong defensive positions, which Germany expected the Allies to challenge. When German analysts examined the photographs of the southeast of England, they saw what appeared to be a large and growing force, complete with tanks, supply depots, landing craft, and aircraft. This matched the German expectations so perfectly that they accepted the evidence without hesitation. The presence of General Patton played a major role in shaping their views. Germany considered Patton one of the Allies' most aggressive and capable commanders. When they learned he was stationed in the southeast, they assumed he would lead the main invasion. To them, it made no sense for Patton to be anywhere except at the head of the primary attack. This belief strengthened their confidence that the large force visible in the southeast was the true invasion army. German analysts also paid close attention to radio signals. They detected heavy communication between different units in the southeast. The volume and structure of the messages looked exactly like what they had seen from real army groups in the past. Nothing seemed unusual or suspicious. The flow of activity looked natural, and it confirmed their belief that a massive Allied force was being assembled. Reports from double agents further deepened their conviction. German intelligence trusted these agents completely and often gave more weight to their reports than to other sources. When agents like Garbo described troop movements, supply operations, and preparations in the southeast, the information matched what aerial photos showed. For Germany, this consistency meant the intelligence was accurate. The German military also analyzed the absence of activity in southwest England, where the real invasion force was gathering. The Allies kept this area perfectly quiet. There were fewer visible movements, fewer apparent preparations, and very limited radio signals. To German intelligence, this lack of activity suggested nothing important was happening there. This silence helped hide the true invasion point. As a result of all this information, Germany shifted and concentrated many of its strongest divisions around the Pas-de-Calais region. They strengthened fortifications, moved armored units, and prepared for what they believed would be the main assault. Even when some commanders questioned the possibility of an attack elsewhere, the overall belief in Calais remained strong. By the time the Allies were ready to launch the real invasion in Normandy, German intelligence was fully committed to the idea that the southeast of England held a powerful army preparing for Calais. This belief shaped Germany's defensive strategy and played directly into the hands of the Allied deception planners. Operation Fortitude had successfully guided Germany's attention away from the real target. Their own expectations, combined with the Allies' carefully crafted illusions, created a powerful trap that would influence German decisions long after the first Allied troops landed in Normandy. On June 6, 1944, the real Allied invasion of France began along the beaches of Normandy. This day became known as D-Day. While thousands of soldiers landed under fire, the success of the invasion still depended on whether Germany continued to believe the deception created by Operation Fortitude. When the landings started, German commanders were confused. Some reports suggested that a large operation was unfolding in Normandy. Others believed it was a small diversion meant to distract German forces from the real invasion at Pas-de-Calais. The deception planners anticipated this confusion. They knew Germany would need strong proof before moving troops away from Calais. So the Allies continued the deception even after D-Day began. The fake army remained active. Radio traffic continued as if nothing had changed. Double agents sent new reports reinforcing the same message. Normandy was not the main attack. These reports were extremely important. They explained the Normandy landings as a limited operation meant to draw German forces away from the real invasion, supposedly still being prepared in the southeast of England. According to these messages, the main strike force under General Patton was waiting for the Germans to react before launching its real assault on Calais. German leadership accepted this explanation. Since they were already convinced that Patton's army was real, the idea that Normandy was only a distraction seemed completely logical. This kept their attention fixed on Pas-de-Calais, even as the real battle unfolded in Normandy. German aerial reconnaissance also continued to support the deception. When they flew over Kent and Sussex after D-Day, they still saw the dummy tanks, fake landing craft, and activity created by the Allied deception teams. They photographed the same fake bases, the same fake airfields, and the same fake supply depots. To them, it looked like a large army remained in position. Meanwhile, the real Allied forces in Normandy faced difficult conditions. German resistance was strong, and the beaches were heavily defended. Delays and losses were significant. The Allied commanders knew that if Germany sent its armored divisions from Calais to Normandy quickly, the invasion could fail. The entire operation depended on how long Germany would wait. The deception gave the Allies that time. Germany continued to hold its strongest units near Calais, convinced that Patton would attack at any moment. Some German commanders argued that the Normandy landings were too large to be a diversion. But the overall belief in a coming assault at Calais was stronger than any doubts. For weeks after D-Day, Germany refused to move key divisions away from Pas-de-Calais. They kept tanks, artillery, and thousands of soldiers in the wrong place. This hesitation allowed the Allies to build up strength in Normandy and eventually break through the German lines. The brilliance of Operation Fortitude was that it did not end on the day of the invasion. It continued to influence German decisions during the most critical phase of the battle. While Allied troops fought on the ground in Normandy, the deception planners fought a different battle, one for time, secrecy, and strategic advantage. Both battles were essential, and both were connected. The soldiers on the beaches depended on the success of the deception just as much as the deception depended on the soldiers' ability to hold their ground. Without fortitude, Germany might have concentrated its forces quickly and overwhelmed the landing. With it, the Allies were given the crucial window needed to secure the beaches and push inland. Operation Fortitude did not fire a single bullet, but it played a decisive role in the most important operation of the war. Operation Fortitude succeeded because it combined many different methods into one believable story. Each part of the deception supported the others. Nothing stood alone. The Germans were not fooled by a single trick, but by a complete system that looked exactly like real military preparation. One major reason for success was that the deception matched what Germany already expected. Their commanders believed the Allies would attack at Pas-de-Calais because it was the closest point to Britain. The Allies simply reinforced this expectation. They built a fake army exactly where Germany believed the real army would appear. This made the deception easy for Germany to accept. Another reason was the consistency of information. Germany received matching signals from many directions. Aerial photos showed tanks and airfields in the southeast. Radio messages confirmed large troop movements in that area. Double agents described the same activity in their reports. Everything lined up. When many sources tell the same story, intelligence services usually trust it. The Allies also paid close attention to timing. They did not create the entire fake army at once. Instead, they built it gradually, copying the natural growth of a real military force. This created a realistic timeline that Germany could follow step by step. When new fake divisions appeared in the reports, they also appeared in radio messages and aerial images. This slow, steady build-up looked completely believable. Secrecy surrounding the real invasion was another important factor. The Allies took great care to hide their actual preparations in the southwest. They avoided unnecessary radio communication, kept equipment under cover, and moved troops at night. Because of this, the Normandy area appeared quiet and unimportant. Germany saw very little activity there, which made it easier for them to ignore it. The use of trusted agents made the deception even stronger. Germany valued certain double agents highly, especially Garbo. When these agents reported that the main invasion force was still waiting near Calais, Germany accepted it as fact. They had no reason to doubt them because the agents had given reliable information in the past, without realizing it was all part of a larger plan. Patton's role added great psychological weight. Germany believed he would lead the main attack because of his reputation and past successes. When they heard he was in the southeast, they assumed that the army around him must be preparing for something major. Even after D-Day, they continued to expect Patton to strike at Calais. Another factor was Germany's own decision-making structure. Hitler had strong influence over strategic decisions and often insisted on his own view. He believed firmly that the invasion at Calais was the real one, and many commanders did not challenge his opinion. This slowed Germany's response to the situation in Normandy and helped the Allies maintain their advantage. Finally, the scale of the deception was overwhelming. The Allies used thousands of workers, dozens of intelligence officers, radio operators, engineers, and artists to create the illusion. They built fake tanks, fake airfields, fake camps, and fake supply depots. They produced thousands of radio messages and hundreds of agent reports. Every detail added to the illusion that a massive force stood ready to attack Calais. Operation Fortitude worked because it attacked Germany's intelligence system from every direction at once. No matter how Germany tried to verify the information, everything pointed to the same conclusion. The deception was not just convincing, it was complete. By the time Germany realized the truth, it was too late. The real invasion force had already secured positions in Normandy, and the momentum had shifted in favor of the Allies. Operation Fortitude became one of the most successful deception operations in military history. Its impact was felt immediately during the Normandy invasion and continued throughout the remaining months of the war. The operation did not just trick the German High Command, it changed the outcome of World War II. The most important result was the delay in German reinforcements. After the D-Day landings, Germany refused to move many of its strongest divisions away from the Pas-de-Calais region. They believed that a second, much larger invasion under General Patton was still coming. This belief lasted for weeks, even as Allied forces were fighting deep inside Normandy. Because these divisions stayed in the wrong location, the Allies were able to expand their beachhead, bring in more troops, and secure supply lines without facing the full strength of the German army. This gave the Allies a critical advantage. Without it, the Normandy invasion could have been pushed back into the sea. Operation Fortitude also caused long-term confusion within the German command structure. Reports from double agents and the continued activity of the fake army kept German intelligence uncertain about Allied intentions. Even after it became clear that Normandy was the real invasion, some German leaders still expected an attack at Calais. This confusion slowed decision-making and weakened their ability to respond effectively. The success of Fortitude demonstrated the importance of deception in modern warfare. It showed that controlling information could be as powerful as controlling territory. The operation relied on teamwork between intelligence services, military planners, engineers, artists, and communication experts. Their combined efforts created a believable picture that shaped the enemy's actions. After the war, many details about Operation Fortitude remained secret for decades. When information finally became public, historians recognized how much the operation influenced the success of D-Day. Without Fortitude, the Allies would have faced a much more dangerous situation, and the battle for France might have taken a very different path. The operation also set new standards for military deception. It inspired future strategies in later conflicts, proving that misleading an enemy can save lives and change the direction of a war. It became a case study for intelligence agencies around the world, showing how coordination, planning, and careful execution can turn a fictional army into a powerful weapon. The legacy of Operation Fortitude is a reminder that war is not only fought with soldiers and weapons, it is also fought with information, expectations, and the enemy's own beliefs. By controlling what Germany saw, heard, and assumed, the Allies were able to shape the battlefield before the first troops even landed. The deception succeeded not because of luck, but because every detail was designed with purpose. From inflatable tanks to double agents, from fake radio traffic to Patton's presence, every part worked together as one unified strategy. In the end, Operation Fortitude saved countless lives, helped secure one of the most important victories of World War II, and proved that sometimes the strongest weapon is not force, but imagination and strategy.